So we're going to finish up Word Project Part 3, where there's a little more exciting things to do. Going to do SmartArt graphics. Ooh. Some little more mundane things like tabs. We have a table already. We're going to make sure we know how to do tables. And a mystery to most people, but very powerful, a thing called mail merge. We're just going to use the make an envelope part of mail merge. But using this, you can make some wonderful form letters, send that invitation to your wedding if you have a list of people to send it to. It can do very nice things. So let's get going by bringing up Word from my taskbar that I have pinned to it. I'm going to go to my Word remembers my recent locations, and I realize that your settings don't let you. I'm thinking of trying to change that because I don't see why. If you're logged in with your own login, you shouldn't have it remember previous documents. So what we've done so far, we created a graphic, drew a shape, put text inside of it, border, glow, eagle picture left and right, paragraph with underline, next paragraph, remove formatting. Notice our tab that we put starting on this line, there's the tab. As I created new paragraphs after that, it remembers the tab setting and adds that tab to every subsequent paragraph. But remember, the tabs go with each paragraph. If I change the tab on this paragraph, it doesn't affect the tab on this paragraph. And that's something I didn't know for a long time. I thought tabs went with my document, but no, tabs go with each paragraph. So since I'm not using any tabs in here, it doesn't really matter whether there's a tab or not. But every time, and if you start a paragraph and have a tab, all following paragraphs, just like you change the font and everything you type from then on has that font, same thing goes with paragraphs. Then we created a table inside of a between two paragraphs, highlighted some things and formatted. Now we're going to make a bulleted list. And we have the beginning of it, some things we're going to do on our campus website before orientation. They want you to do some things. And unlike our first assignment where we entered the text and then later came back and bulleted it, we're going to bullet it before, or set bulleting before we start typing. To me, it's more natural to say, okay, this thing's going to be bulleted. Let's turn on bulleting and then we'll start typing the content. So I'm going to turn on bulleting. I can always turn it off later. And now start typing our items that we are being asked to, we're going to tell them to complete. Complete a housing contract. I'll zoom in a little bit for you here. Oh, got to get the spelling right. And it remembers bulleting. And I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to turn off bulleting later? We'll figure that out. Schedule your math placement exam. Those freshman activities. And reserve your orientation dates. Things to do on their website. Now if I'm done with a list of bulleted items, again, not obvious until you mess with it a little bit, I could say turn off bulleting, or I just could hit enter twice, and that tells Word, oh, I'm done with bulleting now. I could have said, okay, I'm not going to bullet this item and toggle off bulleting. That would have done the same thing. But just hitting enter twice, it turns off the bulleting, adds a little space after that bullets. That's a list of bullets. So double enter to turn off bullets. And now let's finish our little letter, and we'll get into the SmartArt graphics here. And so a little final letter here. We are going to give a blank line. I'm going to turn on paragraph marks so you see there's an extra paragraph, and just for extra space, and then the I am confident you will pursue your passions and accomplish your goals as a Sunset State Flying Eagle. I don't think it's a real college. That would be interesting if there were. Exclamation point. Now, Now I'm going to turn on paragraph markings just so you can see they're going to leave another empty paragraph between here and the next line, just to give, again, a little extra space. And I'm going to tab in. And remember, my paragraphs had been remembering that 3.5-inch tab. I'm going to tab in now. Takes me to the 3.5-inch mark because that's where the tab has been following me, and type the word sincerely. Couple blank lines, 2 blank lines, room for a signature. And then, oh, I don't want to go to the next page. Let's put a tab in, and we'll put Lucy R. Song, Director of Admissions. Now, I don't want to go off to the next page, but I do like the space here, and I realize that I just have too much space in between my lines. So I'm going to correct that by just selecting through paragraphs all the way up to there, and let's go back to a spacing of, let's see, if I adjust it, I guess it doesn't show me the tape. Let's go back to, how about 1? Oh, how about, let's let's remove the space after a paragraph. There we go. That helps to bring the lines a little closer together. So I can change my line spacing, but oftentimes if my paragraphs are too far apart, you can add or remove space. And remember, you can always go to your extra paragraph settings, and here you can control all of that, the space before and after indentations of the different lines. So I realized I needed some room. I didn't want to have this go over to the next page. So I came back and removed the space after paragraphs. If I realize I want that for my entire document, I can do a Control A and come up here and do a remove space after paragraph. And then give a few extra lines there for extra space for the signature. Maybe give an extra line there. So Control A is very handy if you realize in my entire document I wanted to make that change. Select everything or Control A. Now if I only wanted a few paragraphs, remember I can drag down through the margins. And the main thing is that this first introductory letter fits on one page. And I think that looks pretty good. Now we want a second page because we have mentioned, I'm going to turn off paragraph markings for a second there. We want, oh, here I realized I had a wrong word there. We want to have the schedule. We mentioned something that we're going to show on a next page. Where do we show that? Yeah, here we go. We had mentioned the brief schedule on next page. Now it's time to format and compose that brief schedule. It's going to be on the next page, so what do we want to do? We want to insert a page break. Remember, do not hit enter a bunch of times to get to the next page. I'm going to hit enter once just for a nice organization, and now I'm going to insert a page break. Remember how to do a page break? There's 2 places. I can go to insert break here, or layout breaks, and I have a longer choice of breaks. If you're wanting to do more advanced word things, learn about these other breaks, like you can do a cool column breaks, force a new column if you're doing multiple columns, but there's the page break there as well. So I'm going to go page break. It's exactly the same thing as insert page break. And now I'm at the start of a new page, and now let's make this new page look very nice. It's going to be the brief schedule of events. I'm going to turn off paragraph markings. And now let's see what we're going to put on the next text. We want a title for this. We're going to center the title, so let's go ahead and center. And we're going to make it bold. Control B, or click the bold letter B. Watch what happens when I hit Control B. See how the B got highlighted. And we're going to make it to be 36 point. Usually I type it first, but we're going to decide our font size, and we're choosing an orange color even before we type. So I'm going to choose my font color. orange accent to the 5th row, that one right here. That looks like orange. No, that's not it. I think it's that one. Yeah, there it is. Orange accent to darker. The 5th from the right column, 2nd from the bottom. And now we'll type our title, orientation and registration. Now that I didn't have to do it that order, I can type it and then come back and change its font size. And let's see if they specify a particular font. I don't think, yeah, they didn't tell me what font. If I come back and realize I want a different font, I think that I'm happy with that font. Now I hit enter and type orientation and then type student schedule. A nice title for this, so it's almost like I'm doing a little mini poster as my second page. And now I'm going to start the graphic. So I have student schedule, and let's now put a highlight border around this. Remember, I could have done a text box, gives me more options. We'll do the paragraph this time. Let's go ahead and come up here and do a outside border. And then we're going to adjust the border a little bit more. Let's do outside border, but then let's go down to borders and shading. See what else I have available to me. A plain black outside border, maybe we could do better. Let's go down to borders and shading. And let's see what we have here. We can choose a color of our border, and let's see what they would like us to do. I think we're going to do a dotted or a dashed border. So let's choose the color of our border. Let's have it be that same 2nd from the bottom, orange in the middle column. But let's make it a wider border, and let's see what size we make it here. They want a border, let's see, what would look good? Let's try a 3-point. And let's try a style of dotted or dashed right there. Oh, and look at that. When I choose the dash, it set the width back to 1/2 point. That's a little bit annoying. I go back to 3-point. Now I click OK. I see the sample right there. I would prefer it actually showed me what it's going to look like on my page, but I don't see the effect until I click OK. Now I have my dashed border. Now remember, this is a border around those 2 paragraphs. So outside border means it goes around the paragraph selected. Borders and shadings lets me do a complete custom border. And look at all, just for fun here, look at all the available borders I have for paragraphs. I can do a lot more though if it were a graphical text box, but that gives me nice capabilities. Now, one thing I did notice, I did not start a new paragraph before doing this. So what do you think is going to happen if I hit enter to start a new paragraph? Let's see. See, I'm on a paragraph. If I hit enter, remember how it wants to follow my, just like that underlined border before? Remember what we do to not have the formatting follow us? I come up here and do clear the formatting in the new paragraph I'm in. Now the border goes back, and this paragraph is a plain normal paragraph. So I hit enter, said wait a minute, I don't want that formatting to follow me. Clear the formatting for this new paragraph. Then the border reverts back to the previous one. It's a little, that to me is not intuitive at all, that the border follows me and then clear formatting to let the border snap back to the previous ones. And now it's time for a little bit of explanatory text, and then we'll be doing some graphics. So here we go. The explanatory text is, we look forward to meeting you. I'll zoom in a little bit here for you. We look forward to meeting you. Below, you will find a general schedule for the 2 days you will be on campus for orientation and registration. And then a extra space between those two lines, and then during orientation we will walk around campus, comma, so please dress accordingly. And they would like to emphasize 2 days and underline it. So let's go ahead and come over here to 2 days and choose underline. I'd say I don't think I want the space, so 2 days and then underline. But you know, that's just a plain underline. Let's go to that tiny little arrow next to the U to see that I can actually adjust my underline color and style. Let's make that underline the same, second from the bottom, orange in the middle. And just for fun and practice at using underline options, let's make that a dashed underline too, to kind of go with the dash theme here. So anytime you see that extra little down arrow next to something, that means there's other options. And you see those teeny little arrows everywhere on your ribbon. Lots of extra options are available under there. And remember, you always have that little corner option, takes you to the dialog with all the extra options. And let's see, we underline 2 days, and we also want to do the same underline for dress accordingly. Now, I could remember what I did, or I could just say, with that selected, let's use the same format somewhere else. That's where this mysterious paintbrush comes in handy. Most people don't know how to use this format painter. What it means is, take this format, turn on the paintbrush, and now let's paint that same format somewhere else till let's paint it over, please dress accordingly. And there's my underline applied to that. That format painter, I don't have to remember how I did that, you know, the dashed underline, set the color. I'll just say, oh, use the same format, paint it over something else. So you can impress your friends that usually don't know what that paintbrush is about. Okay, so we've got some basic instructions. Now we need something really snappy to get the attention, to make this schedule very clear. So we're going to use something called SmartArt. And we're going to put it, let's see, I think we're going to put it between those two lines. Let me see if we get this right. Oh no, we're going to put it after that line. Okay, so let's go and figure out this whole cool graphic things that is supposed to make it very easy to make some really impressive graphics. So I'm going to put it on the line below this, have a paragraph below that, and I'm going to insert, let's go to insert, and where is the SmartArt? Here is SmartArt. I can do shapes, I can do icons. We're skipping icons and 3D models. We're jumping right to the SmartArt things that we can insert. And now let's see what's available here. Let's do a little exploring. If you haven't done SmartArt before, right away it lists everything available, but it does also list them by category. Lists of things, process things, all sorts of cool graphics that have really good characteristics, let you be very creative with things that were previously boring text. You can really fancy it up. And the type of item that we would like to do, we're giving a schedule. So a schedule will be like a list of things. So let's see what we have available for graphics for lists of things. Lots of graphics available. And we could choose one of these. And the cool thing is we could actually come back and change it later if we didn't like how it showed up. We would like to choose the graphic style of this one right here. What's it called? If I hover over it, my big arrow covers it. Grouped list. We want to choose grouped list as our graphic style. So I choose that, and I get a little preview of it, and now I click OK. And I see some graphics with all these texts with brackets around them. These are placeholders. If I click on any one of them, I can then type text there. But I realize I don't need to have 3. I only want to have 2 columns. So let's come back over to here and delete this 3rd column. Now the way to do that is I have to delete one thing at a time. Click on this, delete, click on that, delete, and then see how this box is highlighted, delete. So now I'm down to 2 columns. See how I did that again? I had the graphics inserted by doing the insert SmartArt list group text. I don't want 3 columns. Click, delete, oops, sorry, click and delete. I have to click the edge of it, delete, and delete. Now I can come in and fill in the text. And I can just start typing on the placeholder. Just click and start typing day 1. And it's smart, so as I type more text, it'll actually adjust the size of things as I type. Click here on this placeholder and start typing check dash in space 9 o'clock dash 10 o'clock. And as I type, it is adjusting my text size for me because it's SmartArt. Welcome and general info session 10:15 dash 11:45. See how my text size is adjusting? It's even adjusting the text size in here because SmartArt knows you should have the same text size for everything or it just looks horrible. Now I have more things to add on day 1. So how do I add another box? Well, because it's SmartArt, SmartArt has a whole ribbon that pops up, and I have a add shape way up here. Let's click add shape. When I'm right in that shape, let's click add shape, and it adds a shape to that section of the SmartArt. And then I can continue typing. Lunch 12 o'clock to 12:45. Add shape again to add more. And I'll zoom in here for you as we continue to add shapes and fill in our various sessions. So with that shape select, I can simply start typing. Student accounts and services 1 o'clock to 1:45. There's probably, let's see, if I hover over this, does it show me a keyboard shortcut? Nope, it doesn't tell me there's a keyboard shortcut. I just have to keep going back and clicking on that. And meeting with advisors, meetings plural with advisors, 2 to 2:45. Another add shape. And let's do department meetings. Oh, that's irritating. I can't zoom in. It wants to zoom out on me. And let's see. I think there's a few more things to do on this day. Add another shape. Expo 4 to 4:15. Actually 4 to 5:15. That'd be a short expo. And just a few more shapes for day 1. Dinner 5:30 to 6:45. And I messed up. Add another shape. And evening activities. 7 to 10 o'clock. 7. Now I see on this page, if I zoom out, that my SmartArt is kind of scrunched. I can actually resize this, and it will resize my boxes for me. I'm going to give it a little larger size, not going to go past the edge of the page, just so I can read that and see how it's going to fit on my page. I can also always come back later and adjust it. SmartArt will adjust sizes for me to fit nicely. Now, come to day 2. Do the same thing, start filling in the schedule for day 2. We have breakfast from 7 to 7:45. Next shape is housing services section. Session from 8 to 8:30. 8. And you see how it's adjusting my text so all the text is the same, and I can now add a shape to that side as I add more sections to this day. So let's come here, housing services, and now dining services. And that would be 8:35 to 9:05. And now I'm realizing it that all I'm doing is basically creating a list of things, creating an add shape every time, just to show you there's a slightly more convenient way instead of having to click add shape each time, which is hiding under this tiny little arrow right here. Watch what happens when I click on this little arrow. It lets me see my list, and basically it lets me see that I can basically enter things here as bulleted list. That's what is creating, or what is associated with this list over here. So watch what I can do. I can come to the end of that. It's just like a bulleted list to me. I can hit enter, and look at that. It adds a shape for me, and I can actually type the text here, and after dining services it would be health services. I can type my text over here, and it's not letting me zoom in on that. That's irritating. Health services. Session from 9 to 9:40. Hit enter. It's automatically creating shapes for me. Now it's up to you. If I had a list, I could just copy paste. I could copy paste my list over here. It would automatically create all the shapes for me because it's SmartArt. Campus tour. $10 o'clock to 11:45. Hit enter, creates the shape, and I have enter lunch. 12 to 12:45. So you have the choice of either entering it or copy pasting a bulleted list, or entering it graphically. I think I like the entering it as a bulleted list and let it format the graphics for me. Let's see, I can zoom on that, but I can't zoom in on this little box. So after lunch we have general education, session from 1 o'clock to 1:45. Every new bulleted list, item in the bulleted list becomes a new shape over there. And register for classes. Two to 3:15. A review of the welcome week. 3:30 to 4. And I think the last thing we do then is pack up and go home, or is that the very last thing? It looks like that's the very last thing. Welcome Liquor Review. So I can backspace over that extra item and the shape goes away. So you can decide whether or not to edit it graphically or edit that little pop out and edit the text there. Because SmartArt remembers the content and the style of their text. Now I don't think it's the greatest graphics, but if I ever want to change it, I can do that too. One thing we're going to change is, this is a kind of conservative style of graphics. We want something to be a little fancier because we're dealing with college students that really need some graphical, to get them excited about this. So let's go to SmartArt Design and let's change our colors. Let's see what color styles we have available to us. Plain, 3D effects, or let's see what colors. Ooh, look at that. I could do wild colors. In the book, they would like you to choose the colorful. I think it's very annoying graphically, but I can always adjust my color scheme, more conservative. But let's go ahead and go wild colors. We can be obnoxious with our colors. I can adjust my graphics left and right to fit them on the page a little better. Oops, I accidentally adjusted the size of that. Let's try the corner. There, it'll adjust the entire graphics to fit into my margins, fill the page. And I have a nice colorful graphic list of items. Get the attention of my student as they come and hey, this is a great college. Look at the great graphics they do in their letters to me. Now I can adjust the styles of things as well. So let's go back here and we've adjusted the colors. Let's have it selected. Let's adjust the styles. What styles? They would like to choose that style. Oh no, they choose the pastel-y colors. Is that the one? Let's see. They choose. Oh, down below they choose this one. I think. Is that the one? Oh, subtle. They want the subtle style. That's the one they want. I kind of like one of these. You can. I'll let you choose whatever style, as long as you don't choose the plain one. Pick one of these styles and see how spiffy you can make it look. I don't think that one's very readable, but it's really cool looking graphically. That one's not terribly readable. Something readable, you get to choose. I think I like that one. You can pick any of the graphics, but notice some of the graphics, well, that may be sort of readable. I'll let you pick. You can be as obnoxious as you want, just because this is about knowing the tools available. Notice white text on yellow is probably not going to be very readable, but I'm not going to worry about that. For now, we'll just assume they have good eyes and I have a good printer. Remember, what you see on the screen may come out much nicer or horrible depending on how good a printer you have. I can see it on my screen, but it may come out horrible depending on the quality of printer. So we have that. And now the only thing left to do here is to add an envelope that we're going to send through the printer. So I have my letter. It's going to be folded up and put in an envelope. Let's make a fancy envelope, and we can actually make this part of the document. This is the part that's mostly mysterious to others. There's a lot more you can do with it, but let's go back to our very first page. Remember, we had the address of the person we're sending to right here. Let's select through that address. So when I do the next thing, it will use that text. So I have that text selected. It's going to be the address of my mailer. And now let's go to the Mysterious Mailings tab. Click here on Mailings, and we are going to create an envelope. Now, some printers will not let you feed envelopes. We could actually print an envelope and make it part of our document. That's what we're going to do. We could actually print it from here and not have it become part of our document, but then I wouldn't know if you did the envelope. So we're going to add this document, or add this envelope to my document. So see what I did. I simply selected the address, mailing, envelope, add to document, and watch what happens. it adds a separate page to my document at the top, ready to be printed out on a printer. Now, if I really wanted to print this out, I would say only print the first page, because I'll be printing this over regular paper. This has to fit on a special size paper. But that's how easy it is to create envelopes using the mailings technique. Let me do that again, because that goes by pretty quickly. I select the address I want to mail to, go to mailings, choose envelopes. It gives me a preview of the envelope, and I can add electronic postage. Oh, I don't have the font. I guess I can't do it. It shows me my address. I could make corrections to the address if I don't like somehow this format. I could omit some things, the return address. I could adjust how it's going to feed, but I'm just going to go add to document. And it creates a page ready for printing, but it would be a feed the envelope, tell it to print just the first page, and I have then a lovely printed envelope. I can always go back and edit the text if I wanted to make it a little fancier, like bolding that, or changing the font, or adding some color. So that's a very powerful part of, and this is just a taste of mail merge. This mail merge, that takes a little longer. Maybe we'll take a look at that sometime. But this mail merge, or let you explore this, you can actually feed mail merge a whole list of people to receive your document, and you can generate a form letter for every person and have their name in appropriate places in your document, and with envelopes to go with them. But we'll leave that to you to explore. If you want to impress people, learn about mail merge or about doing labels, you can do really powerful things with that, and most people are very confused by it. But we'll just do the envelope, and we're then done. We added an envelope to the top of our document. Now we can Control S, save my document, and project 3 is done. You have your form letter and lovely graphics. Oh, and one thing they did, I don't think they show you in this document, because you made this SmartArt, if you ever decide you want a different kind of SmartArt, you can simply say, oh, let's try this style of a list, and it puts that same list in a different style of graphics. And you say, oh, wait a minute, I want that style. It'll let you change your style of graphics without losing your scheduling information. And that's the cool thing about SmartArt. Any of these other list items may look a little nicer, but you can easily try out different graphics built in for you without you having to retype everything. So you don't have to change the graphics, but that shows you how SmartArt will work. I can decide to change my SmartArt style without having to retype all that information. Save that, and it's ready for upload to Schoology. So you're done. This completes most of the word processing part of this course. Hoping you've learned a few extra things with Word. Maybe reinforce some of your knowledge of Word. Lots of powerful things in there that you can take advantage of and make your letters and memos impressive and professional, and set it a step above what other companies are doing, and make your employer happy. All right, that's it for this project. Save and upload to Schoology. And I will